Hey everybody, it's Josh and welcome back to the Landlord Harassment channel. Now, I haven't done a video about my past homelessness in a while, so I'm going to do a video about that today. And I'm going to do a video, this video is going to be about a subject that I've discussed before, but maybe not in this manner. So, as you can tell by the title of the video, I'm going to be discussing how important ethics, morals, values are when you're living a life of homelessness or street life or any kind of life where you're basically on your own. You've got no one to back you up. Now, your moral value system, your personal value system, your ethical value system are extremely important when you're a homeless man. And it's for that very reason that you have nobody to back you up. There's nobody to sort of put you in check when you violate your value system. And there's also nobody to hold you back from violating your value system. Okay? There is nothing stopping you from violating your values except for you. Okay? And most people can't handle that. Most people cannot handle being in a situation like that. Because most people don't really have real values. Most people just have the values that they think that whatever, most people have values that are just whatever is socially acceptable at the time. They don't really have true internal values that they've thought about and really internalized. Luckily for me, I have. But in the streets, like I said, there's nobody there to sort of encourage you when you've resisted the temptation to violate your values and to stand on your values anyway, even though you know nobody's going to be around to see it. So you could violate your values all day, every day. You could violate your ethics all day, every day in the streets, and nobody's going to know, and the few people who do know really aren't going to care that much anyway. So you're totally free to do what you want. Here's where the problem comes in. When you're in the streets, all you have is you. All you have is your personal set of values. That's the only thing that you can count on to have with you day to day. Because you don't know if you're going to have money the next day, food the next day, whatever. You're just living day by day. So if you don't have a core set of values that you're committed to living to, you're susceptible to anything, especially in the streets. If you don't have a core set of values, or you have values but they're weak, or you're just choosing to violate them or whatever, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to get victimized by all kinds of people who are looking to take advantage of you because you're not solid in your core of who you are, or you're going to do things that violate your value system so much that you're going to destroy your own self-esteem. And it's going to be very hard for you to recover your sense of self, which means you're going to end up with all kinds of psychological issues and so on and so forth. This is how, for example, a straight man who's homeless, totally straight, totally heterosexual, this is how he allows another man to have sex with him just for, a couple of $100 so that he can put money in his pocket. When you don't have a solid core value system about you, or when you just throw your values to the wind and say, I'm living street, I'm just going to be street, this is the kind of stuff that happens to you. And this is why you see a lot of homeless people running around with mental problems, because they abandoned all their sort of personal values, or they didn't have strong values to begin with. So they didn't know who they were going into the streets, and they got taken advantage of. They got put into all kinds of situations that weren't good for them, and it takes a huge psychological toll on them. Living in the streets takes a huge psychological toll on you anyway, especially if you're doing it for a long time. And there's no getting around on that. There's no getting around that. But if you have your values, if you have your ethics, your personal value system that you're committed to, you're at least going to keep your sanity. Because you're at least going to have some grounding in who you are, no matter what happens to you out there. And it's not that the bad things that happen to you won't be tragic. They still will be. But you'll have a core strength from like inside your soul that sort of keeps you going. It is very difficult to hold on to your values when nobody is there to make sure you're holding on to your values, and when nobody really cares whether you violate your values or not, because to them you're just a homeless guy, so who cares what you do? Because people violate their own values against you all the time when you're homeless, you know? So it's a very difficult thing to do, but I just forced myself to do it, and I'm very glad I did it. Now, there are situations where it's okay to violate your values, but they're pretty rare. For example, I have a value that I don't hit women, right? And that's a pretty standard value here in American society. But what it basically means is I will never pick up my fist and just strike a woman. However, in a situation where a woman has, say, a butcher knife to my neck, and she's absolutely going to kill me if I don't hit her, if I don't knock her out, well, then I have to do what I have to do in that situation. You know what I mean? Another value I had is like when I had to like steal, I wouldn't steal from certain people, like old ladies and stuff like that, right? So I wouldn't do that. However, if I ever got to the point where I hadn't eaten for 3 days and my stomach was just so hungry that I had to do something, it's just find something to eat or die, and I had to rob an old lady's purse in that situation, well, then you got to do what you got to do because you just have no other options. But those are kind of rare situations. All right, those are special, unique situations. And I could go on and on, and we could go down that rabbit hole all day. All I'm trying to tell you guys is that whether you ever go homeless or not, it is very important to develop an inner set of beliefs and values that you actually spend time thinking about, meditating on, and internalizing. Because there's going to be points in your life where those values are the only thing that keeps you sane. You know, when all your friends turn on you or nobody's talking to you and nobody's there to kind of make sure you're staying on track with your personal value system, it's very easy to abandon your values, but then you're not going to like what you see when you look in the mirror every night. And I mean, you're the only one that has to look in the mirror every time you go to the bathroom, every time you brush your teeth. So internalize your values so that when you're tempted to break them, they're ingrained in you enough that you don't break them. I rarely broke my values my whole time in the streets. I did it in small ways, and when I did break my values, even in a small ways, when I did stray from them, I felt guilty for a good month, 2 months after that. That guilt is a good thing, though. That means I care about my value system. So, I had this put together better in my head what I was going to say, but I guess I just don't know how else to say this. But yeah, having a core value system is extremely important, especially if you're going into a situation where you're pretty much on your own, like homelessness, or maybe you're a college girl and you belong to some sorority and your sorority turns on you for whatever reason. This is where you can spin out of control and completely violate your value system and just damage your self-esteem for years. And that's why it's important to develop your value system while you're living a relatively drama-free life, so that when the drama does come, you've got those core values with you to carry you through the hard times. So I don't really feel like I'm even making sense here anymore, so I'm going to probably cut this video off soon. But my personal values, my personal ethics, my personal morals are the only reason that I got through my years of homelessness without being like a mentally ill person, like somebody who needs medication or something to function and to not be depressed and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So values, ethics, all that kind of stuff is very important, especially if you're going homeless, or especially if you're facing any other kind of situation where you're on your own in a lot of ways. That's all I got for you today. Enjoy your Friday night. Enjoy your weekend. My Cash App's linked down below. Please show your love. Talk to you guys soon.